Do you ever have trouble choosing your character in Project Zomboid? Maybe the occupations seem a little bit overwhelming. Worry not, in this ultimate guide you'll learn all about Project Zomboid occupations, updated for the newest build 42.19. Not only will I explain them, I'll also put them on a tier list, and I'll give you some good builds for C tier and higher occupations. For D and F tier professions, if you decide that you wanna take them for some reason, I recommend you take the 6 great traits mentioned in the custom occupations chapter and fill the rest as you wish. Before we start, I'd like to thank you guys for 100 subscribers. We hit that in less than a month since the channel started, which is amazing. Let's increase that number, what about that? And why not hit the like button while we're at it? Editing laughter here. After editing the whole video, I realized that I don't really have good music for this. I didn't have time to compose a 30-minute track, especially with this kind of heat. Oh my gosh, it's 40 degrees Celsius, like how bad can it get? Well, anyway, I want the video to come out in a reasonable amount of time. My editing software kept crashing for literally no reason. Yeah, it's just a mess. Well, anyway, let me know how you like the music in this video. I composed it myself a while ago and I just switched up some instruments so it fits the vibe better. Now, let's get back into the video. Anyway, you know the drill by now if you've seen some of my previous tier lists. S tier is the very top tier, either because the specialization is so insane, or because the occupation is just universal and always worth picking. A tier is simply good overall. There are times where you wouldn't pick those professions though, and they are not as strong as S tier. B tier occupations are nice, but on average you'll probably go for something else, or maybe there's just better options. C tier professions are niche. Overall, not great, but in some specific scenarios can work. D tier is reserved for mostly bad professions. Even those can work for you, don't get me wrong, but usually they're not that great. F tier professions are horrible and best avoided unless you're roleplaying, though even then you probably won't need those professions for that. So let's kick things off with the default option. Unemployed, yes. Officially called custom occupation. You get no bonuses and instead you start with 8 trait points. Unemployment is going to be our way to measure, so for example, if an occupation costs, 10 points, but gives benefits that you can get with traits which are overall worth 8 points, then that occupation is pretty much useless. However, if it costs 6 points while giving bonuses that are very hard to get with traits due to their cost, then that's probably a good one. To clarify, by costs 10 points, I mean the difference between unemployed and the occupation. So if the occupation's starting points is -2, then its cost is 10 points. Anyway, unemployed gets a B tier, as it's the default option if you want to make your own build. Here's a great beginner-friendly baseball bat combat build as unemployed. Restless Sleeper counteracted by Wakeful, and a bunch of other free perks give you enough points to get Athletic for max endurance, Whittler and Baseball Bat for carving and long plant, which together will let you get a lot of cheap and powerful baseball bats, Gymnast for nimble points, which greatly improve melee, Dexterous and Speed Demon for quality of life, and Fast Learner and Inventive to make sure you can level all the other skills fairly easily. If you don't want Long Plant, then you can swap Baseball Player and Whittler for Keen Hearing. For all of the next builds, I recommend always taking those traits. Thin-skinned, conspicuous, prone to illness, slow healer, weak stomach, and fast learner. Yes, fast learner. In my opinion, no matter your build, fast learner will always be one of the best traits available and always affordable. Anyway, next we have the Firefighter, which grants +1 axe, +1 fitness, +1 running, and +1 strength for 8 points. This makes it one of the most basic and universal occupations. +1 fitness and strength mean you can mostly forego taking stout or fit, costing each 6 trait points, and having +1 in a weapon skill is great, especially in axe, which is one of the top tier options. The only downside is that running isn't a great skill. If instead this occupation gave +1 in nimble or maintenance, it would be S tier. In its current state, it's still very good, thus I'll put it in A tier. As for my recommended build, it would be the standard 5 negative traits, and then for positive ones, Speed Demon and Dexterous for quality of life, Inventive and Fast Learner for leveling, Brave for better panic management, and Stout for more carry capacity. Then we have the Police Officer, which gives you +4 aiming and +1 reloading and nimble. And that makes it the best choice for gun-heavy playthroughs, because aiming takes time and a lot of resources to level, and +1 nimble is not to be underestimated either. Overall, strong A tier. It can't really be S tier though, because if you don't have guns, you're just paying 12 points for +1 nimble. This is a specialized occupation, so I recommend a build that will support some survival traits that it lacks. So the standard negative traits plus Smoker, and then for positives Fast Learner, Stout, Brave, Inventive and Dexterous. To quickly explain, Smoker is fine, as both of its main downsides are mostly negated by your playstyle. Coughing isn't louder than shooting, and looting cigarettes is not going to be a problem if you're going for guns anyway. Stout will give you more carry capacity, Dexterous will improve gunplay, Inventive will save time, Fast Learner is a must pick, and Brave will let you deal with panic easier, which is extremely important for gun gameplay, as panic ruins your aim. Now, Park Ranger got nuked in the newest patches. It used to give you +2 in foraging and trapping, +1 in axe and carpentry, faster walking speed through trees, +2 radius modifier when foraging, and some other giant foraging bonuses. The issue is, while the foraging buffs mostly remain, the trait buffs are now +1 first aid, napping, carving, trapping and foraging. The cost hasn't changed though. Now, unfortunately, I can't put it in S tier. It is still a great wilderness profession, but it's mostly foraging focused, and realistically, there are just better ways to get food. Still, for what it gives, it cannot go below A tier. The build I recommend is not combat focused, quite opposite actually. I think this is one of the best picks for people who just want to relax in rural areas, apart from the dubious little creatures. So, to the 5 negative traits we add Fear of Blood, Reluctant Fighter and Short of Breath, which, remember, only nerfs endurance when swinging or running, and that's fine for you. And for positive runs, we take Outdoorsy and Wakeful to be able to work whenever we need to, Gymnast for nimble, Fast Learner, and then Handy and Hunter for a lot of skill points. Hunter also gives you +1 aiming, which means that if you acquire guns, you don't have to worry about combat anymore, as none of the negative traits particularly affect that part of the game. The result is boosting most of the skills in the game. If you're wondering why there's no bonus strength or fitness, that's because you don't really need either. Strength is for carry capacity, but you won't be looting much in the forests, and fitness is for endurance, which you will realistically mostly use on chopping trees anyway. One change you can implement is swap Gymnast for Cat's Eyes and some other trait that costs 2 points. It will help you outside at night, and you might not care about Nimble that much if you are not going to fight anyway. Alright, next is Construction Worker. It gives +1 carpentry, maintenance and long blunt, as well as +2 masonry and short blunt. I recommend only focusing on one weapon type, so either short or long blunt in this case, and the other is kind of obsolete. Masonry isn't a big deal most of the time, but carpentry on the other hand is, so overall I'd say it's a B tier as a package, as the cost is also fairly low. The Builder Warrior combo is probably what we're going for, so the build is gonna be pretty much just brute force. Standard perks plus negatives short-sighted, remember to wear prescription glasses for that, Restless Sleeper and Hard of Hearing, and positives dexterous, wakeful, athletic and strong. For a more beginner-friendly build, check the DIY Expert. Now, Security Guard gives +1 light-footed and +1 short blunt, +2 running, and a Night Owl special trait which increases sleeping efficiency. It does not decrease sleep time. This is kind of lackluster. Night Owl and running are not very valuable, so you're basically paying 8 points for +1 light-footed and +1 short blunt. At that point, You could just take gymnast and baseball player for 1 more point, but way better skills. Cannot recommend this occupation, D tier. The reason night owl isn't that great is because you are going to sleep the exact same amount of time as always, so you don't really gain much. The only change that this trait actually implements is that your rests are more efficient if you're drowsy or just tired. If you're extremely tired, then this trait doesn't actually do anything. So it's not really that good. Okay, let's go to the next one. We have Carpenter, which for just 8 points gives +4 carpentry and +1 in carving, maintenance, masonry and short blunt. This is a perfect builder occupation and A tier, definitely worth picking if you want to build your own house. The build is basic negative traits and fast learner, plus strong for carry capacity that you will need for building, dexterous for speeding up those long transfer times for logs and planks, and speed demon because, well, there was only 1 trait point left, so might as well take it. Burglar is both a bit of a noob trap and a legitimately good occupation at the same time, giving +2 light-footed, sneaking and nimble, as well as letting you hotwire cars without any skills. That's pretty good. What beginners miss is that neither sneaking nor light-footed is particularly valuable for the 14 points cost of the occupation, and hotwiring from the start is not that big of a deal considering you can learn it with just Mechanics 2 and Electrical 1 quite quickly indeed. The true highlight is nimble, which is hard to level and fairly rare among traits and occupations. So secretly it's not a sneaking occupation, it's a fighting occupation. I'd give it a B tier overall. Nimble and the quality of life in form of hotwiring on day 1 definitely carrying it hard. The build I'd recommend is gonna be standard negatives, fast learner, dexterous, baseball player and vehicle knowledge. The last one allowing you to focus on getting and repairing many cars that otherwise you'd ignore, being unable to hotwire them. Not the most efficient strategy, but it does work, and then you can use those cars to smack zombies, if you want to. Chef gives +4 cooking, +2 butchering, as well as +1 short blade and maintenance. It's not great, as cooking and butchering aren't really that amazing, however for multiplayer or roleplay this is a really solid pick. And well, for 8 points, getting short blade and maintenance isn't really that bad, considering that the trade equivalent would be baseball player and tinkerer for the same cost, and that's without cooking nor butchering. Cooking at high levels lets you use rotten food in your meals, and butchering increases yields from harvesting meals from animals. Overall, a C tier. Not as strong as other professions, but still fine. You also get a keen cook perk that just gives you some recipes. The build is food focused, standard, but with hunter and hiker. Hunter gives you even more short blade and butchering, which is great, as well as aiming for hunting. Meanwhile, hiker gives you levels in 2 skills that give food, which is trapping and foraging. And obviously, this occupation build also has fast learner. Alright, next is the DIY expert, which is just a refined construction worker, giving +1 carpentry, masonry and short blunt, +2 maintenance and the inventive trait. Just like construction worker, it's B tier, you know the drill, it's the same thing basically. I'd say it's slightly better than construction worker because of the inventive trait, which is given for free, while both of the occupations have the same 10-point cost. To switch it up a bit, we'll go for a different build. Rather than taking more negatives, we'll just take dexterous, gymnast, stout and fast learner. Easy quality of life, simple combat buffs and more carry capacity with no real downsides. For a harder but stronger build, check the construction worker. Rancher, formerly livestock farmer, is next. For 8 points, it gives a massive +4 in animal care, +3 in butchering and +1 in fitness. Animal care increases the milk and eggs yields from your animals, and butchering lets you get more meat when you slaughter pigs or chickens. Fitness being just a cherry on top, this occupation is amazing for farm playthroughs or multiplayer, and it will get an A tier. Some of you might consider it S tier even, though I personally think that right now fishing is way stronger in single player, especially with the fishing nets, so I wouldn't rate it that high. As for the build, it is the standard one plus dexterous, gardener for the agriculture boost that you might want and is very useful for farming, cat's eyes for quality of life, fast learner, and very importantly, handy. If you want a farm, carpentry is extremely useful, and the other skills from handy are good as well, so it's a great pickup. You might want to switch gardener for something else if you don't really care about agriculture. Moving on, we have the more useless version of rancher named farmer. It gives +4 agriculture, +1 animal care, and +1 strength. Alas, the animal care point is probably the highlight of this occupation. Agriculture isn't nearly as good as animal care. Still, though, it is extremely hard to level, and if you don't have animals or water access, agriculture isn't that bad. It's a specialized occupation, and I'll be lenient and give it a C tier. Below chef, though. The build I recommend is just quality of life things. Cat's eyes, wakeful, fit, fast learner, and dexterous, and notably speed demon. If you live on a farm away from urban areas, you might want this trait to get to some towns faster and more efficiently. But then we have the most controversial pick yet. Fishing guide, also known as Angler. It gives +1 butchering, +1 foraging, and +3 fishing for 10 points. Fishing is currently the best food source, and both foraging and butchering are very synergistic here, as you level up butchering by filleting fish, and foraging is necessary to get bait for your fishing rod. And I put this occupation in S tier. Yes, S tier, and I know a lot of you will disagree, but hear me out before roasting me in the comments. You're paying 10 points to be 100% self-sufficient on food, you don't need to ever worry about fishing books or TV shows, you don't have to worry about weight, and you're basically free to do anything you want with your remaining points. I'd put them in dexterous, wakeful, handy, and fast learner. Handy will let you modify or build your own lake cabin, and both wakeful and dexterous are quite useful overall. Right. Next is doctor, and there is no controversy to be had here, immediate F tier. It gives +6 in first aid, which is basically a useless skill that can also be leveled in minutes, and +1 in short bait, which is the highlight of this occupation. Basically you pay 8 points to get a boost in a skill that's underpowered compared to its alternatives. Avoid. Now, veteran, and it's gonna get controversial yet again. I think it's overvalued by most people. For a massive 16-point cost, you just get +2 aiming and reloading and the trait that removes panic for you. Here's the thing. It's extremely expensive, and it blocks you from taking a lot of panic-related traits that otherwise you could take for points, which this occupation really needs. The benefit of having the best gunplay of all classes is a little bit questionable, considering you can take the brave trait with police officer for a similar effect, but with +2 aiming and +1 nimble in comparison. I honestly think veteran is a one-trick pony that isn't even the only option at that, and only really useful for high population gun-oriented playstyles. I'll put it in B tier. If you want to do a clear entire Louisville run or something like this, then it would be S tier, but most people don't play like this. As for the build, go all in and become a killing machine, that's what it is all about. Take Restless Sleeper, Short of Breath, and Fast Metabolism. Those two don't matter as you won't be using melee weapons. Hard of Hearing, Slow Reader, and Short-Sighted for points. And for positives you take Dexterous for gunplay and quality of life, Outdoorsy to run around naked for better mobility, Wakeful to counteract Restless Sleeper, Gymnast for nimble, Fast Learner for XP, Stout for carry capacity, and Athletic so you can run around more and get more killing done. Nurse is just a better doctor, but still useless. Gives +3 aid, and also +1 fitness, +1 light footed, and the night owl sleep efficiency trait. It loses short blade compared to doctor, so it is still F tier. Avoid. Then we have the Lumberjack, which is an S tier in my opinion. It gives you +2 axe, +1 maintenance and strength, and higher swing speed with axes, all for just 8 points. This is the ultimate beginner's profession, and the build I'd recommend is simply standard negatives, plus Fast Learner, Dexterous, Cat's Eyes, and Speed Demon for quality of life, Gymnast for better combat, and Fit for better endurance. You cannot go wrong with this occupation. Actually, the trait it gives, Expert, does increase your swing speed by 25%, which basically means 25% more damage per minute. With Nimble you can just become an absolute killing machine. Next, Fitness Instructor, which is F tier, immediately. For 14 points, it gives +3 fitness and +1 strength, as well as useless running and nutritionist stuff. You can just take stout and fit for the same effect and be left with 2 points. Not worth it. Burger Flipper is just chef, but cheaper and weaker. +2 cooking, +1 maintenance and short blade, and the Keen Cook perk. It's basically the same as chef, so take the chef build and modify it as you wish. It does not get the butchering bonus, but that's mostly fine. C tier. Electrician is currently borderline useless. It lets you operate generators and gives +5 electrical. The issue is, there is another class which is just better and can also operate generators. D tier, not recommended. Electrical is also very underpowered at the moment, so avoid, especially as a beginner. And most of the things that it gives, you can actually just find the recipes in the magazines, you don't need electrical. Speaking of operating generators, Engineer is S tier, by some considered to be the best occupation in the entire game. It gives a fairly modest +1 carpentry, electrical and masonry, as well as operating generators for 12 points. On its own, that would be quite average. However, there's a catch. This profession can make pipe bombs without magazines. And pipe bombs are currently the best way to kill zombie hordes, hands down. For the build, you don't need much combat potential and you already have crafting boosts, so you can just go for some quality of life. Stout, fast reader, fast learner, dexterous, speed demon. Now, Welder is very special. It gives +4 welding and all related recipes for a 12-point cost. This might seem pretty expensive until you realize just how much time you save not having to search for any magazines or additional welding materials to level the skill up. Also, currently, there is only 2 ways to get welding starting points, and this is one of them, the other being the mechanic profession. Welding is a useful and powerful skill, letting you make armor, repair cars and reinforce buildings, and this occupation gives you everything to get started, thus it's a solid B tier. The build I'd recommend would be a looting focused one, as you need tremendous amounts of resources for welding. So for negatives, take Clumsy and Restless Sleeper for additional points. Then for positive traits, take Fast Learner, Strong, Wakeful, Vehicle Knowledge, which in combination with your welding starting points will let you repair cars quite well, and then just Dexterous and Speed Demon as usual. Blacksmith is a solid A tier. For 14 points, it gives +4 blacksmithing, +1 maintenance, +1 short bond, and a ton of recipes for tech required to start forging your own items, as well as the recipes for those items. Blacksmithing allows you to get your own armor, weapons and tools, which is extremely useful in the long run, especially because the quality of weapons you can make after a few months is way above most of the lootable stuff. I would recommend a strong late game oriented build, so take Restless Sleeper with Wakeful, Clumsy, Fast Metabolism, which you'll be able to easily fight off after some time, Cowardly, which loses its effect after a few months, and as for the positives, take Dexterous, Vehicle Knowledge to keep your vehicles in a good shape, Fast Learner, Handy for crafting and building skills, and Hiker for getting food before you get access to cows. If you're confident you can get farm animals quickly, then swap Hiker for Gymnast. And if you are confident you can get fishing, for example in the lake house north of Moltra, then you can also swap for Gymnast. Okay, next is Mechanic, giving you knowledge of repairing all vehicle types, as well as +4 mechanics and +1 welding. This occupation is S tier in multiplayer and a solid B tier for single player, averaging at A tier. Repairing your cars is huge in multiplayer, where there might be a limited supply of them, and is quite useful for long-term playthroughs solo. My recommended build is a simple long-term fun build with Restless Sleeper and Wakeful, Speed Demon, Dexterous, Cut Size, Fast Learner and Handy. Lastly, Tailor. This is a bit of a weird one, giving +4 tailoring for 6 points. If you want to go for this skill, this is a top tier pick, and very cheap at that, considering sewer gives just +1 tailoring for 4 trade points. Worth it for making your clothes way more durable and protective. This occupation is A tier. As for the build, you can go for whatever you want really, but here's a nice combat focused one. Clumsy as the 6th negative trait for 2 points, and then baseball player for long blend XP, gymnast for nimble, and athletic for max endurance. And obviously fast learner. Alright, that's the tier list, and all occupations explained. Let me know in the comments how you liked it, and what I could add in the editing to improve my future guides. Like, subscribe, share and all that stuff. Hope you found this video useful. Have a great day.